Hello and welcome back to our Chronological Bible in Your Reading Plan. Today is day 225 and we're reading Jeremiah 23, 24, and 25. Jeremiah 23. Woe to the shepherds destroying and scattering the sheep of my pasture, declares Yahuwah. Therefore thus said Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael against the shepherds who feed my people. You have scattered my flock, driven them away, and have not tended them. See, I am punishing you for the evil of your deeds, declares Yahuwah. Therefore I shall gather the remnant of my flock out of all the lands where I have driven them, and I shall bring them back to their fold, and they shall bear and increase. And I shall raise up shepherds over them, and they shall feed them. And they shall fear no more, nor be discouraged, nor shall they be lacking, declares Yahuwah. See, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, when I shall raise for David a branch of righteousness, and a sovereign shall reign and act wisely, and shall do right ruling and righteousness in the earth. In his days Yehudah shall be saved, and Yisrael dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahuwah Zidkenu. Yeah, I said that right. Therefore, see, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, when they shall say no more. As Yahuwah lives, who brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Mitzrayim, which is Egypt. But as Yahuwah lives, who brought up and led the seed of the house of Israel out of the land of the north, and from all the lands where I had driven them, and they shall dwell on their own land. My heart within me is broken because of the Nebaim, which is the prophets. All my bones shake. I am like a drunken man, and like a man overcome by wine, because of Yahuwah, and because and because of his Kadesh words, which Kadesh means holy or set apart. For the land is filled with adulterers, for the land mourns because of a curse. The pastures of the wilderness are dried up, and their course is evil, and their might is not right. For both Nabi and Kohen, that is, prophet and priest, have become defiled. Even in my house I have found their evil, declares Yahuwah. Therefore, their way is to them like slippery ways in the dark. They are driven on, and they shall fall in them. For I bring evil on them, the year of their punishment, declares Yahuwah. And I have seen folly in the Nebaim of Shomeron. They prophesied by Baal, and led my people Yisrael astray. And among the Nebaim of Jerusalem I have seen a horrible matter, committing adultery and walking in falsehood. And they strengthen the hands of evil ones, so that no one turns back from his evil. All of them are like Sodom to me, and her inhabitants like and her inhabitants like Amorah. Therefore, thus said Yahuwah of hosts concerning the Nebaim. See, I am making them eat wormwood, and shall make them drink poisoned water. For defilement has gone out into all the land from the Nebaim of Jerusalem. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, do not listen to the words of the Nebaim who prophesy to you. They lead you astray. They speak a vision of their own heart, not from the mouth of Yahuwah. They keep on saying to those who despise me, Yahuwah has said, you shall have peace. And to all who walk according to the stubbornness of their own heart, no evil comes upon you. For who has stood in the counsel of Yahuwah and has seen and heard his word? Who has listened to his word and obeyed it? See, a storm of Yahuwah shall go forth in a rage, a whirling storm. It whirls on the head of the wicked. The displeasure of Yahuwah shall not turn back until he has done and established the purposes of his heart. In the latter days you shall understand it perfectly. I do not send these Nebaim, yet they ran. I have not spoken to them, yet they prophesied. But if they had stood in my counsel, then they would have let my people hear my words, and they would have turned from their evil way and from the evil of their deeds. Am I an Elohim close by, and not an Elohim afar off, declares Yahuwah? If anyone is hidden in secret places, would I not see him, declares Yahuwah? Did I not fill the Shamayim and earth? And the Shamayim is the heavens. I have heard what the Nebaim have said, who prophesy falsehood in my name, saying, I have dreamed, I have dreamed. Till when shall it be in the heart of the Nebaim of falsehood, and Nebaim of the deceit of their own heart, who try to make my people forget my name by their dreams, which everyone relates to his neighbor, as their fathers forgot my name for Baal. The Nabi who has a dream, let him relate the dream, and he who has my word, let him speak my word in truth. What is the chaff to the wheat, declares Yahweh? Is not my word like a fire, declares Yahweh, and like a hammer that shatters a rock? Therefore see, Therefore see, I am against the Nebaim, declares Yahweh, who steal my words every one from his neighbor. See, I am against the Nebaim, who use their tongues and say, He declares. See, I am against those who prophesy false dreams, declares Yahweh, and relate them and lead my people astray by their falsehoods and by their reckless boasting. For I myself did not send them, nor have I commanded them, and they do not profit this people at all, declares Yahweh. And when these people, or the Nabi, or the Kohen, ask you, saying, What is the message of Yahweh? Then you shall say to them, What message? I shall forsake you, declares Yahweh. As for the Nabi, and the Kohen, and the people who say, The message of Yahweh, I shall punish that man and his house. This is what each one says to his neighbor, and each one to his brother. What has Yahweh answered, and what has Yahweh spoken? But the message of Yahweh you no longer remember. For every man's message is his own word, for you have changed the words of the living Elohim, Yahweh of hosts, our Elohim. This is what you say to the Nabi. What has Yahweh answered you, and what has Yahweh spoken? But since you say, the message of Yahweh, therefore thus said Yahweh, because you say this word, the message of Yahweh, and I have sent to you, saying, Do not say the message of Yahweh. Therefore see, I shall utterly forget you and cast you away from my presence, along with the city that I gave you and your fathers. And I shall put an everlasting reproach on you, and an everlasting shame that is not forgotten. Chapter 24. Yahweh showed me, and look, there were 2 baskets of figs put before the Hakal of Yahweh. The Hakal is tabernacle, temple, dwelling, temple. Okay. After Nebuchadrezzar, sovereign of Babel, had exiled Yekoniah, son of Jehoiakim, sovereign of Yehuda, and the heads of Yehuda with the craftsmen and smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babel. 1 basket was very good figs, like the figs that are first ripe, and the other basket had very spoilt figs, which could not be eaten. They were so spoilt. And Yahuwah said to me, What do you see, Yirmiyahu? And I said, Figs, the good figs, very good, and the spoilt, very spoilt, which could not be eaten. They are so spoilt. Again the word of Yahuwah came to me, saying, Thus said Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel, Like these good figs, so do I acknowledge the exiles of Yehuda, whom I have sent out of this place for their own good into the land of the Kasdites. And I shall lay my eyes on them for good, and shall bring them back to this land. And I shall build them, and not pull them down, and shall plant them, and not pluck them up. And I shall give them a heart to know me, and that I am Yahuwah. And they shall be my people, and I shall be their Elohim, for they shall turn back to me with all their heart. And as the spoiled figs that could not be eaten, because they are so spoiled, for thus said Yahuwah, so do I give up Zidkiyahu, the sovereign of Yehuda, his heads, the rest of Jerusalem who remain in this land, and those who dwell in the land of Mitzrayim, again Egypt. And I shall make them a horror to all the reigns of the earth for evil, to be a reproach and a byword, a mockery and a curse in all the places to which I drive them. And I shall send the sword, the scarcity of food, and the pestilence among them, till they are consumed from the land that I gave them and their fathers. Chapter 25. The word that came to Yirmiyahu concerning all the people of Yehuda in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, son of Yoshayahu, the sovereign of Yehuda, which was the 1st year of Nebuchadrezzar, sovereign of Babel, which Yirmiyahu the Nabi spoke to all the people of Yehuda and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, From the 13th year of Yoshayahu, son of Ammon, sovereign of Yehuda, even to this day, this is the 23rd year in which the word of Yehuwah has come to me. And I have spoken to you, rising early and speaking, but you have not listened. Moreover, Yahuwah has sent to you all his servants, the Nebaim, rising early and sending them, but you have not listened nor inclined your ear to hear, saying, Turn back now, everyone from his evil way and from the evil of your deeds, and dwell on the land which Yahuwah has given to you and your fathers forever and ever. And do not go after other mighty ones to serve them and to bow down to them, and do not provoke me with the works of your hands, so that I do you no evil. But you did not listen to me, declares Yahuwah. so as to provoke me with the works of your hands for your own evil. Therefore thus said Yahuwah of hosts, because you did not obey my words, see, I am sending and taking all the tribes of the north, declares Yahuwah, and Nebuchadrezzar, the sovereign of Babel, my servant, and shall bring them against this land, and against its inhabitants, and against these nations all around, and shall put them under the ban, and make them an astonishment, and a hissing, and an everlasting ruins. And I shall banish from them the voice of rejoicing, and the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom, and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones, and the light of the lamp. And all this land shall be a ruin and a waste, and these nations shall serve the sovereign of Babel 70 years. And it shall be, when 70 years are completed, that I shall punish the sovereign of Babel and that nation, the land of the Kasdites, for their wickedness, declares Yahuwah, and shall make it everlasting ruins. And I shall bring on that land all my words which I have pronounced against it, all that is written in this book, which Yirmiyahu has Nebu, meaning prophesied, concerning all the nations. For they too shall be enslaved by many nations and great sovereigns, and I shall repay them according to their deeds and according to the works of their hands. For thus said Yahuwah Elohim of Israel to me, take this wine cup of wrath from my hand, and make all the nations to whom I send you drink it. And they shall drink and shake and go mad because of the sword that I am sending among them. I then took the cup from the hand of Yahuwah and made all the nations drink to whom Yahuwah has sent me. Jerusalem and the cities of Yehudah and its sovereigns, its heads, to make them a ruin, an object of astonishment, a hissing and a curse, as it is this day. Pharaoh, sovereign of Mitzrayim, and his servants, and his heads, and all his people, and all the mixed multitude, and all the sovereigns of the land of Uts, and all the sovereigns of the land of the Pelishtites, even Ashkelon, and Azah, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod, Edom, and Moab, and the children of Ammon, and all the sovereigns of Zor, and all the sovereigns of Zidon, and the sovereigns of the coastlands which are beyond the sea, Dedan, and Tamah, and Buz, and all who are in the farthest corners, and all the sovereigns of Arabia, and all the sovereigns of the mixed multitude who dwell in the wilderness, and all the sovereigns of Zimri, and all the sovereigns of Elam, and all the sovereigns of the Medites, and all the sovereigns of the north, far and near, one with another, and the reigns of the earth which are on the face of the ground. Also the sovereign of Shishak shall drink after them, and you shall say to them, thus said Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Israel, drink, be drunk, and vomit, fall, and rise no more, because of the sword which I am sending among you. And it shall be, when they refuse to take the cup from your hand to drink, then you shall say to them, thus said Yahuwah of hosts, you shall drink. For look, I am beginning to bring evil upon the city which is called by my name, and should you be entirely unpunished? For you are not going unpunished, for I am calling for a sword on all the inhabitants of the earth, declares Yahuwah of hosts. And you shall nabba against them all these words, and say to them, Yahuwah roars from on high, and utters his voice from his Kadesh dwelling place. He roars mightily over his fold, a shout as those who tread the grapes, against all the inhabitants of the earth. Tumult shall come to the ends of the earth, for Yahuwah has a controversy with the nations. He shall enter into judgment with all flesh. The wicked he shall give to the sword, declares Yahuwah. Thus said Yahuwah of hosts, see, evil is going forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind is raised up from the farthest parts of the earth. And in that day the slain of Yahuwah shall be from one end of the earth, even to the other end of the earth. They shall not be lamented, or gathered, or buried, for they are dung on the face of the ground. Howl, you shepherds, and cry, and roll yourselves in ashes, you leaders of the flock, for the days of your slaughter and your scatterings are completed, and you shall fall like a choice vessel. And a place of refuge shall perish from the shepherds, and escape from the leaders of the flock. Hear the cry of the shepherds and a wailing of the leaders of the flock, for Yahuwah is ravaging their pasture, and the pastures of peace shall be cut down because of the burning displeasure of Yahuwah. Like a lion he shall leave his hiding place, for their land shall become a waste because of the sword of oppressors and because of his burning displeasure. And that concludes our reading for today. As always, thank you for joining, and I hope you have been reading along, but most importantly, reading for yourself. And peace and blessings and love to you. See you in the next one.